shoot! Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, as the winter comes in, especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're into autumn, we're coming into winter. The absolute best thing about this time of the year, other than the fact that it gets colder and, you know, I'm a winter baby myself, is we get to use flashlights more because the nights are definitely longer. Which is the perfect segue into the Rovyvon A1x. Now Rovyvon got in touch and asked if I'd like to make some content on this. I have a great relationship with Rovyvon and I'm glad that they keep sending me more stuff to review, mainly because I just really like their products, and that is because a lot of it comes down to that sweet spot with the form factor, the features, and generally the price. These are reasonably inexpensive, but there's a great balance between the price and the quality of the goods that you get from them. So what I'll do is, I'll just get straight into it. I'll turn the camera around so we can have a closer look at this. While I'm doing that, if you do enjoy this content at any point and you'd like to show your appreciation, hit the like button and subscribe. That would be amazing. But let's turn the camera around and get a closer look at the Rovyvon A1x. Okay, so as we usually do, we'll go through the dimensions, the materials, and the actual features of it itself. As I usually do, I'll put an inch rule here, but I'll give you most of these measurements in millimeters and grams. So as far as the overall length from the tip here all the way to the butt where there is a small loop that you can attach a lanyard to, it comes in at 60.5 millimeters, which is just about 2 3/8 of an inch. As far as the diameter at the largest point, which is here at the end, which is where this metal part is, if I turn this round here, you can see that it does taper down, which gives you a better idea of where you're grabbing and where you're holding it. Certainly makes finding the on and off button a little bit better. But at its widest, where it is a perfectly cylindrical tube, it comes in at 15.6 millimeters, which is kind of just over half an inch. As far as the weight is concerned as well, you know, this is very light. There is a metal piece here at the end which helps with things like impact resistance. This is IP65 rated. But the rest of this is made from a resin polycarbonate kind of material, which does help to reduce the weight. The weight comes down to 16.8 grams, which, you know, is really light. As far as the construction, you know, I suppose we've already been into this, but you have this metal piece on here at the end, which, as I say, you know, it helps with impact resistance, but it also helps with heat distribution as well. So when this is at its lightest, this goes up to 650 lumens. So at its lightest, it does pump out a little bit of heat. Now, I'm not talking about the type of heat that would potentially set your pocket on fire. Just dropped my notes. However, it's just there for the internal circuitry to make sure that it doesn't overheat on the inside. Then, as I mentioned, you know, this kind of is a plastic style material all the way down, and you'll be able to see that is all the way around it. The only additional things on the outside is here on the front you have the function button. The function on this, or at least through the button itself, is very simple. It's just that one button. I'm happy to say this is my favorite type of on and off button, which is a double press to turn on. I much prefer a double click to turn on because it just comes. I've never had a double click for on flashlight accidentally turn on in my pocket. I know there have been some manufacturers recently, they've kind of come under fire and people going, oh, don't buy one of those because their flashlights set on fire, mainly because the way that they've locked, or people haven't understood that properly, whereas you never get that. In fact, yeah, do you know, I'll happily put my house on it. I'll happily put Castle Moorlander on the fact that a double click for on has never turned on accidentally in my pocket. There is a small LED underneath here.
So let's say you're getting to the point where your where your flashlight needs to be recharged. This will turn so that it's red, so that you know that it needs to be recharged. While it's charging, there are different lights on there. I think blue means that it's been fully charged, so that you know that it's charging if you've not noticed that you've actually plugged it in, but also when it's finished charging and you can unplug it. As far as the charging is concerned, it's all done here through this this port on the side. Now, this kind of leads me onto the box. So just so you're aware, this is the box that it comes in. In here, you get a clip, you get a little lanyard kind of ring, and then you get a charging cable with it. The charging cable that comes with it and the charging connection on here is micro USB. Now, it's a bit old-fashioned, however, one of the advantages of micro USB is, one, I mean, everybody's got micro USB cables kind of knocking around the house somewhere, so they are readily available. And two, because this technology has been used for a long time, it certainly drives down the price of these compared to some other models that use USB Type-C. It plugs in. It's actually a really nice snug connection. I've not had any issues getting any other ones in there. You know, sometimes they don't necessarily have a proprietary connection to it, but sometimes you have difficulties being able to fit it in the recess around the plug. I've used a few different types of plugs with this, and they've all been able to fit in nice. There's no play in it when it's in there. It's nice and firm. One thing that I do note, and it's something that I've noted a few times with Rovyvon flashlights, and that's just the plug. So the plug goes in and it fits in really well. It's nice and secure, but it's probably just down to the injection molding. So there is a small, tiny little lip here. I had exactly the same on my A5 when my A5 first arrived. If you have a sharp knife or anything, and you just take that lip off, then you'll find that it just doesn't come out. But what I've found with the lip on there, I always leave these in the way that they arrived to me out of the box. But if you take that lip off there, or at least if you don't take the lip off there, you might find sometimes when it's in your pocket, it just kind of pops out. Now, it's not every day at all. It just, I don't know, it just sometimes pops out. But if you take that small lip off there, which I will do as soon as I finish this piece of content, you'll find that it just stays. You might even find that you get one without that little lip and you don't have any issues whatsoever. Going through the rest now, there is a small lanyard loop here on the end. Here is my A5, and here is a Nightcore Tiki, which I've put lanyards on the end of these. I don't use these as keychain flashlights. I actually use these as just normal pocket flashlights. Being able to have one on the end, it certainly makes it easier to hold and just also to be able to find when it's in your pocket. So I highly recommend getting some paracord and just adding a lanyard on the end of it. It works perfectly. Now, getting back to the button here, I mentioned this is a double press to turn on. So if I double click, you'll see that it turns on, and at this moment in time it is on the low mode, or at least the moonlight mode. If you're new to the channel, or at least if you've been to the channel quite a lot, you'll certainly know that moonlight mode is generally the mode that I use the most on flashlights. But when you get this flashlight, and it's a long press to turn off. When you get this flashlight out of the box, the mode that it is on, so you've got moonlight, you've got low, you've got medium, and you've got high. But you can set, it does have a memory on here, so depending on which one you prefer, so it's double pressed it on, and then it's moonlight, low, medium, and high. Depending on which one you want it to go on, if you use it in that mode for longer than 3 minutes, it will always remember that is your memory mode. So if I wanted to use this and it always to come on in medium mode, all I'd need to do is to make sure that stays on for 3 minutes or longer than 3 minutes. So the next time when I turn it on with a double click, it will go on to that medium mode. Whereas I've set mine always to come on this low moonlight, moonlight mode. I always want to say low mode, but there is a moonlight, a low, a medium, and a high with this flashlight. So as you might have already noticed there, so it's a, you know, so let's turn it off again. So it's a double click for on, and because it is a double click for on, you don't have to long press to go through the modes. It's just a simple click to go through each of the modes. And there we had again, you know, moonlight, low, medium and high. There is a triple click, 1, 2, 3, and that then turns on the strobe mode, and then it's a long press again to turn that off. When it's on, let's say I turned it on and I don't know, I was messing around with something and wanted to put it back onto memory mode. When it's on, if you double click it, it will change it automatically back to whatever the memory mode is, which on this one is moonlight at the moment. Long press and that will turn it off. Now as far as the lumen counts for each of the modes are concerned, so let's just turn that, double click that back on. So this is the moonlight mode, and the moonlight mode is just 2 lumens. And the reason that I use lumen mode, the moonlight mode the most, I'm struggling with my words today, sorry about this, is mainly just because when you're around the house, just being able to find things, these are perfect for, you know, everyday use, and being able to find something, especially maybe in these winter hours, you're trying to find your keys or something's in the bedroom, you don't want to wake up your partner, and it's just great to be able to use these modes. These are perfect for inside the house. Outside the house, you're really going to struggle to be able to see anything on the floor with this. Mainly, yeah, you're definitely going to want to use those larger modes or the higher modes. But at 2 lumens, from a full battery, oh, I didn't mention, so this is a 330 milliamp hour battery in here. So you get plenty of hours from this, considering, you know, the amount of lumens that it pumps out. So from a full battery on moonlight mode, you'll get roughly 30 hours worth of battery out of this. Then press it again, that will then take it up to low mode. The low mode on here is 20 lumens, and again, you know, it just gives you enough light that if you're trying to find something in the house, hopefully as you can see here, that you'll be able to find that. At the low mode of 20 lumens, you'll get roughly 8 hours of battery charge, or you'll get 8 hours of use, sorry, out of one battery charge. The next bump up takes it up to medium mode, which is 360 lumens. Now the way that this works is, so either whether you're on, actually let's just turn that off for a second, whether you're on the medium mode or whether you're on the high mode, there is a kick down. So the first 100 seconds you'll get at the high mode, or at least whatever the higher mode is for that mode. So let's put that back on again and then get back to medium. So the highest mode that you'll get from medium is 360 lumens, and that will be for the first 100 seconds. After that, because of the amount of heat that it generates, which again, you know, it's not a massive amount, but just to protect the internal circuitry, it will then drop down to 150. It'll then drop down to 100 lumens. So what you'll actually get is you'll get at 360 lumens. If you could keep it at that, you'll get roughly 1.5 hours. But then when it jumps down to when it then steps down to 100 lumens, you'll get 900. You get 95 minutes out of that. Sorry, I said 1.5 hours, didn't I? Sorry, it'll stay at that for 1.5 minutes, and then it'll drop down, and at 100 you'll get 95 minutes. So if I put that back on again, and then the high mode that you get from this is 650 lumens, which again, you know, it'll stay on this for 100 seconds, and then it'll then drop down to 100 lumens. So potentially that'll be like that for 1.5 minutes, and then you'll get 75 minutes out of that lower mode. I did mention the strobe, so I've actually, let's turn that off. As it's been on there, it's warmed up. Now, I mean, it's not massively warm. As I say, it's certainly not going to burn me or anything, but I can definitely tell that it's warmed up. And as you notice, it's just popped out. As I say, it really is just that little lip. I can see the lip, and it's that lip there that pushes it out. But as soon as you take that lip off, it definitely stops it from doing that. I've had that with a few of my other Rovyvon flashlights. I did mention that there was a strobe, 1, 2, 3, puts it onto strobe mode, and the strobe mode uses 650 lumens at its lightest to make sure if you're being searched for, or even if you need to use it to stun somebody, if you want to leg it from an altercation, then yeah, there's that on there as well. Now I thought I'd just give you some extra size comparisons. I've already kind of shown off some of these already, but here we've got the A1X, and this is the A5. You'll hopefully notice that the A1X is just slightly longer, and that's mainly where the X comes from, is just extra capacity. So the battery in this, with it being, it was, what did I say, it was a 350 milliamp hours, is just slightly larger than this one. So you do tend to find that with the X models, you'll generally get a little bit more out of them than you do with the non-X versions. Next to it here is the Nightcore Tiki, which again is very similar to the A5. Again, just as a different size comparison, you do get a little bit more, well, you definitely get more out of this one compared to these two. These two are very similar. In fact, I think the maximum output from these is roughly about 350. And then another popular pocket flashlight out there. Here is the i3T from Olight, which again, it's probably better if I put these next to each other. In comparison, when you look at the size of them, they're very similar as far as the diameter of each of them. Whereas the i3T has a AAA battery in there, rather than this one is a completely chargeable battery. Simplicity of use, simplicity of functions is certainly what the A1X has an abundance of, which I suppose is completely opposite. And I've talked long and hard about this, especially with some flashlight content. It's great to be able to have a flashlight that does everything. In fact, the Rovyvon A28, was it the A28? I mean, I was more than happy to say it's possibly the best flashlight that I've ever used, because it does everything. They've thrown everything in, plus the kitchen sink, into something that is easily pocketable. In fact, I'll leave a link up here so that you can watch that content. But sometimes it's just really nice and refreshing to have something that you press it, or at least in this instance, you double press it, it turns it on and it works. You can cycle through different functions, but not having some of the other bells and whistles that you get with some more advanced kind of keychain flashlights. I think that's what makes the A1X just a very fun, friendly, pocket-sized keychain style flashlight to use, and I just really like. I think Rovyvon at the moment, especially with their flashlights, they're hitting that sweet spot, and that sweet spot is mainly through the actual functions of them, the quality of the products that they're putting out, compared to the price, especially to some of the other more pricey manufacturers out there. I think Rovyvon are definitely doing a very good job with their flashlights. Now what I'll do is I'll leave some links in the description below. Some of those may be affiliate links. It's through no extra cost to yourself. It's just a small kickback that I get to my channel so that I can continue to make content like this. As far as this content is concerned, this was sent to me free of charge. However, it has no sway on the outcome of this video. I think Rovyvon just appreciate that I like their products, and I'd love to try one of their lights that I don't like, if that would make any kind of fun content whatsoever. And I've said in a few videos recently that I've hit 5,000 subscribers. There is going to be a giveaway. In fact, there's going to be 2 giveaways. Maybe there may be some Rovyvon flashlights appearing in that. I don't know, but stay tuned, because at the moment I'm trying to pull all of that stuff together so that I can finalise what's going to happen with the 2 giveaways. But if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I'll leave my social media links here as well so that you can see more from those. It's probably one of the ways in which I'll give more information about that. As it's YouTube, you know, like, subscribe and share. That would be absolutely amazing. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander and stay EDC.